Good morning, YouTube, or afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Good news, we're doing a weekly giveaway on our YouTube channel for Amazon gift cards. All you gotta do to enter is like the video, give us a subscribe, and comment below. The more comments you give us on the weekly videos for that week, we go Monday through Sunday, the more chances you have being entered, basically. So I'm gonna go through whatever the most creative content is as far as your comments go, and I'll pick a winner, and I'll send you a gift card. It's pretty simple. Free money. Who likes free money? I know I do. Subscribe. Have a good day.
This is scary.
Yeah.
And this came out an hour ago. When we have food places or food being delivered to grocery stores, who regulates that?
You're talking about like shipping companies that bring product to grocery stores?
No, who regulates the food industry in this country?
It's supposed to be the FDA.
Thank you. If there,
which is a lot of nonsense in that too, but
there is and there isn't. Like something is necessary for regulatory purposes.
For sure, but a lot of it like certain areas.
Something is declared E. coli ridden, who makes the call to have it pulled from the shelves?
I would guess the FDA.
The FDA. Who prevents us from getting sick if there's some sort of widespread outbreak in the food system? Supposed to be the FDA.
Yeah, and also, there's also the Center for Disease Control, where that's
they're less food, they're more communicable.
But it could be related in some things.
Well, and you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they fall under the same category as what we're about to dive into. Dad said Trump just walked out of a meeting, re the wall, after 10 minutes. He said it will be the wall or nothing. The shutdown will continue. Now watch the motherfucker declare an emergency. Fucking dictator throwing a tantrum. And he can do that. If he doesn't get his way, and if there is no agreement to bring the government back to operating status. Oh, it's Mom. Mom said motherfucker. He can throw a tantrum and declare a state of emergency. You know what a state of emergency will do?
Gives him more power, probably.
It will give him the ability to force appropriating funds for the wall immediately.
But that could be like, there could be so if he does that, then the government comes back. The
government can't come back if he declares a state of emergency because the government is currently shut down. This is like chess.
There has to be a check and balance for this.
But there's not. If he declares a state of emergency, it is basically like throwing all of the chess pieces off the table and screaming checkmate.
There has to be a law.
We would think there has to be, but there's not. Like any way you look at it, you can look it up. Look up the routing. So many people have tried. So many people have tried to figure out, okay, there has to be a roadblock here. If this happens, there has to be a pawn or a rook or a knight that we can put put here to stop that from happening. But there's really not. And that is what's so fucking scary about living in America today, is because with all of the rules and regulations that we've written, it is still structured so the president can become a dictator overnight if he really wants to.
So why hasn't that happened before, if that's the case? Like, there has to be something.
Because realistically, no president before has wanted that burden on their shoulders. So if any president declares martial law and decides to do something regardless of what the House and the Senate say, they can, but when the smoke settles, they will go down in history as somebody who is very treasonous and one of the most vile human beings in American history.
So
president has, regardless of how good or bad a president was, every president until this one has had some ounce of patriotism in them.
So this sounds like a Hail Mary.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He can become Hitler overnight if he wants to. Now,
thought in my brain, I'm not gonna say.
No, go ahead.
No, because I'm not gonna. I don't want certain government officials knocking on the door in 15 minutes.
Bring it on.
But
a mom said he can shut down all internet If he declares a state of emergency, he can declare all internet lines be shut off immediately. So we can't communicate with one another. We can't broadcast what's really going on. So the major news.
Yeah, this would lead definitely to where my brain is going to say on the air, but I'm not going to.
No, you can't. Go ahead.
No, I'm not going to.
If he declares martial law, he can do this, and nobody can stop him. Like, he can turn into this big fucking. If you want to put it into a pictorial sense, he can turn into that robot yesterday, but no chicken can stop it.
I think a chicken will stop it.
We can hope.
Right afterwards. Like, it might happen for a little bit, but it won't take long for that chicken to creep in.
We can hope. We can hope. And we all have, us level-minded individuals have that same, like,
some crazy chicken.
May God help us. And may God be that chicken.
Yeah, well, some crazy chicken would step in.
Mom said he can shut down all of the internet, etc. in an emergency. No, there is no law, nothing written. We have had rational leaders in all three houses. And that's exactly what I was just saying. Up until now, we've had people that were patriotic enough that they were afraid of the repercussions if they made a decision like that, and the American people revolted against them. This guy that we have in office right now doesn't give a fuck. He's probably already got some sort of high-speed aircraft ready to launch his ass over to Moscow, and Putin's going to take him in. Because you know how much of a boner to give Putin to say, your American president is now one of our people, fuck you?
So,
this whole thing is a giant chess game.
If that happened, then, like...
My mom said this is exactly what Hitler did. How long has Trump been trying to shut down our media? He's trying to convince the American people that our press, our freedom of press, is fake news. Since before he was elected.
I mean, a lot of it is, there is a lot of nonsense out there, but yeah.
But there are a lot of reputable, honorable sources as well. And he's trying to portray all news, unless it comes from the White House itself, as fake news. Those are the steps that Hitler convinced that enough German people that whatever else was going on outside of what his regime said was false and against them, and that's how they were able to power together to be able to throw all the Jews in the concentration camps.
But you're using the same people to do that. I don't think, I'm hoping that our own, like...
Hoping our own military will stand against him and say, fuck you, I'm not doing that?
Yeah, I mean...
That's exactly...
To take out your own family and friends because some Cheeto motherfucker in the office... And
do you remember the exit letter that I read from Mattis a couple weeks ago? Where it was a very subtle yet blatant reminder to anybody in the military organization that their number one job is to uphold the Constitution of the United States, which starts with "We the people." So it was basically he was nonchalantly trying to remind them that you are part of We the People, and your job is to defend the people of this country regardless of what the guy in the White House says. Because the guy in the White House is about to take us all down the shitter.
I don't think we're gonna. I think we're kind of a little bit of sky is falling. What?
Oh, Mom said you just went on a long pause. Twitch got unplugged, and I looked at my phone. It said that the broadcast you were watching has ended.
It's back now.
Wonder if it's gonna split this up into two different parts. That was weird. Maybe somebody heard something that didn't like it. Although Twitch is owned by Amazon, which is ran by Jeff Bezos, and Bezos is not a fan of Trump at all. So
yeah, for sure.
I think we can dog Trump all we want. He's not going to care.
One would hope.
One would hope. So it is very scary, the power that this guy has, and that the chessboard that is laid out without having all of the checks and balances in place. We are still learning. It's 2019, and this country's been around for 250 years or so. And we still are fine-tuning our rules.
Of
and
course,
we're always going to be progressing. You're right. But this kind of stuff, like there should have been something put in place a long time ago that would prevent the president from being able to say, I declare federal emergency, turn off all internets, plug all the Comcast, unplug,
What benefit does that do, though?
Keeps us from talking to one another so he can easier control society.
But what benefit does that benefit him, like financially? Like, because that's really all he cares about, that and power.
we can assume, but we don't know. You know, he's made a lot of moves.
It just doesn't make sense. I think he's just bluffing. I think really he's playing this thing, and he's like he's got a 2-7 offsuit, and he's not showing his hand, and he's just pushing more and more money into the pot.
The problem is
bluffing.
The problem with that is this government shutdown that's been going on for the last 3 weeks so far has already put a huge damper on American society.
We've had big government shutdowns.
We have.
In the past. It's nothing new.
It's not new, but the fact that he is not even willing to negotiate is the scary part.
I think this is part of his negotiation tactics, and he's bluffing with his 2-7 offsuit, hoping he has enough in his pile that he can keep pushing into the pot that eventually that the government caves. That's all. Call him on his bullshit, government. Call his bluff, because he don't have shit except a 2-7 offsuit. And you got a pair of kings.
I am looking up the longest government shutdowns, and it looks like 21 days is the other longest one that we've had in modern governmental history, and that was 1995 December through January 95-96. Just a month after resolving a prior shutdown, President Bill Clinton and the House Speaker Newt Gingrich ran into a stalemate over a 7-year budget plan. Thus began the longest shutdown in U.S. history, which went from early December through the first week of the new year. The shutdown went on so long that museums relied on private funds to reopen, and therapists said that they were getting crisis calls from out-of-work civil servants. So right now, due to this government shutdown, the FDA is shut down. The Food and Drug Administration says it has suspended all routine domestic food facility inspections amid the partial government shutdown. FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb told the Washington Post that he is putting together a plan to resume inspections of facilities that are deemed high risk. The agency, which oversees the majority of the country's food supply, typically conducts roughly 160 routine inspections per week, the Post reported. While food inspections of most of these facilities have halted due to the funding shortfall caused by the government shutdown, Gottlieb said he is seeking to bring back enough workers to investigate high-risk facilities which deal with sensitive foods such as seafood and cheese. Investigators during these routine checks typically look for unclean conditions, bug infestations, and harmful contaminations. We are doing what we can to mitigate any risk to consumers through the shutdown, Gottlieb said. The FDA is still reportedly inspecting foreign manufacturers and producers involved in recalls or outbreaks. 40% of the agency's operations are covered by Congress, while 60% is funded by user fees, according to the Post. The shutdown on Wednesday hit day 19 as White House negotiators and Democratic leaders continue to dig their heels in over President Trump's demand for more than $5 billion in border wall funding. Trump has been seeking to frame the wall as the answer to a crisis at the border, while Democrats insist that the president is playing politics and seeking to shore up support from his base. Democrats have offered $1.3 billion for border security measures, but no specific money for the wall. More Americans are feeling the ramifications of the prolonged shutdown as affordable housing contracts expire, Transportation Security Administration workers quit or call in sick, which is another story I don't even want to dive into today. We'll get into it tomorrow. But a lot of TSA workers have forced to quit and go find other jobs. So our airport security is about a third of what we normally have right now. Federal workers sue over the financial strain. Yeah, so we're worried. He's so worried about border security, yet now we have a whole bunch of people at the airports that quit and aren't doing the checks and balances that they're used to.
So you're opening up. You're basically making more holes in your quote-unquote wall.
Right. He's doing a whole lot more harm than good.
I hear all the quote-unquote people they grabbed were mostly from airports, as far as like people coming across the quote-unquote terrorists.
Right.
Are like, was 99% of them?
Yeah, Mom just said most dangerous people come in through the airports.
Yeah.
That is true.
It seems like a lot easier to go through the airport than it would be other places.
Yes. That is correct.
because you like when you blend in with the crowd. When you're trying to cross a border, especially like an open area, like you're kind of out in the open. So, yeah, it's insane. Though I think I'm not losing sleep over it.